You're a ninja or just extraordinary?
Hello everybody, so welcome back to the channel and thanks again to the subscribers. Really do appreciate the support and thanks for watching, and please comment on the videos, that'd be awesome, we get conversations going. But I've been tagged by David Wiley in his awesome tag, Extraordinarily Average Tag. Such a good tag. And also because I'm so grateful that he mentioned my band in it as well in one of his prompts, I thought I'd do the tag straight away. So I've got loads of videos scheduled up to go up, but I'm putting this up straight away as a nod of gratitude, and it's lovely being tagged. So thanks to David for tagging me, and thanks for mentioning BMIS. Really appreciate that. It's very lovely to do that. And in general, he's mentioned me a few times, which is really nice, and his comments are very encouraging. So David Wiley, love you, man. So this is a really cool tag because it's like what is seen as average but you think is extraordinary, and there's loads of different prompts. And I'm going to quite enjoy saying some of them because stuff I haven't said before for some of them. So I'll start straight away. So the first one is a book that is seen as average that you think is extraordinary. It's actually a book that I've raved about on the channel a number of times. I really love it, really love it. It's definitely one of my favourite books, and you hardly ever hear anyone talk about it. And if anyone talks about the author, they always talk about The First 15 Lives of Harry August, which is a great book. But my favourite book by Claire North is Touch. It's a fantastic book that was written after 15 Lives of Harry August, First 15 Lives of Harry August, and it's just got a great plot at the centre, but it's written so well, and it's written with such sensuality that I think makes it quite extraordinary, and definitely worth reading if you get a chance to read Touch by Claire North. I do think it's an extraordinary book. I think it's an amazing book and much better than the reputation it has, which I think it was well received, but doesn't get talked about a lot. So Claire North's Touch is my vote for book. Author, I'm going to go with Rob Davis. So for an author that I think is extraordinary, that is seen as average, I don't hardly ever hear this guy talked about. And this is a graphic novelist, and in particular, there's a trilogy of books he did, which were these dystopian, surreal, almost nonsense kind of dystopia setting, and they're just amazing books, and they're so unique, I think. And it's the Book of Forks series. I don't know what the series is called as a whole, but there's 3 books, which will just flag up on here now. But they're so brilliant, and they really did blow me away. I've never seen anything like it. I've never read anything like it, and I think they pulled me in, and I think they had a really engaging story, but they were so different as well. So Rob Davis is my choice for author. David said he was particularly interested to know what I thought of a musician or a band that's extraordinary, that is seen as average. So I don't know if he's seen as average, but I don't know how many people know about him. So I'm going to go with Steve Bartek. So Steve Bartek is an incredible musician. He's a fantastic, extraordinary musician. He's the guitarist of Oingo Boingo. So he's worked very closely with Danny Elfman since 1972. So he's in the original form of Oingo Boingo, which was called the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo when they were a theatre troupe. And then when they went into their punk new wave phase, he was the guitarist, but he also arranged the songs. And kind of bouncing off that, when Danny Elfman started writing scores for films, Steve Bartek orchestrated all of the scores. So he's that's his main income, I think, his main job. But he plays a lot in LA, in 2 of the bands he's in. Boingo's still going without Danny Elfman, so he does a lot of those gigs. And he orchestrates tons of scores that are not just Danny Elfman scores, but he does do every single Danny Elfman score. So it's really cool that they still work together. And he's also been involved in Danny Elfman's Return to Rock gigs as well, which is really cool. But no, he's just a phenomenal guitarist. So if you listen to things like New Generation from Oingo Boingo, and the solo in Help Me, which is there's a particular version on the Boingo Alive album, and the solo in that is amazing. But just so all of what he does when he just play, like the stuff he did on the last album they did, Boingo, which is the black and white cover one, which is a bit grungy. The stuff he plays on that, it's just phenomenal. But just in general, anything, any guitar you hear from Oingo Boingo is Steve Bartek. He's just a phenomenal guitarist and really underrated. So that's my choice for the musician. The next prompt was a TV show that you think is extraordinary but seen as average. I'm actually going to go for a show that got cancelled. So it got cancelled after the first season, and I was loving it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And it was actually the show that J.M. Straczynski did once he'd finished doing Babylon 5. And it's a show called Jeremiah. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. And Sean Astin was in it. The guy that was in Beverly Hills 90210, what's his name? Luke Perry, I think his name is. I think he was... Was he the main guy? I think he was the main guy. But anyway, Jeremiah was such a good show. It was like a post-apocalyptic thing. And it was before The Walking Dead. It was before any of these post-apocalyptic things that have happened after The Walking Dead. It was such an interesting show, and it was really, really, really well written. I thought it was really good. But then it got cancelled after one season, so we only got one season's worth. But I thought it was really good. So very underrated, clearly, by the TV company as well. And then for a movie that is extraordinary, that is seen as average, I have actually done a video already on my channel called 10 Underrated Movies. So all of those 10 could have been contenders for this. But I'm going to pick one that I haven't mentioned yet. And it's a film that I really, really love. And I've seen it a number of times and I really love it. I think it amazes me that people don't talk about it. It's got some great acting in it. And I just think that, it's got I love con man plots. I love the sort of con man trope, if you like, because you don't always know what's happening. There's a few surprises in it. And this is a Nick Cage film. It's called Matchstick Men, and it's directed by Ridley Scott, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, Matchstick Men, definitely recommend that. I don't know if you guys have seen that film. It's such a good film. And so Nick Cage's character has got OCD, and that kind of affects his success as a con man. And he's got Sam Rockwell working with him. Sam Rockwell is my favourite actor. So the two of them are doing these cons, and then their life gets turned upside down by someone that visits them, and it's just such a good film. I love it. Matchstick Men is my choice for underrated movie that I think is extraordinary, that is seen as just average. So the next prompt is a booktuber that you think is extraordinary, that is seen as average, or it's got average subscription numbers. So I don't think this person is seen as average, really, by the people that know her and know her channel. But clearly, if the world made sense, she'd have thousands and thousands of subscribers. So I'm going to repeat what David said and choose Pax Panic for this, because we love her to pieces and we miss her doing her live streams and all that kind of thing. We want her back, and I think it's just a really important thing to say that she is extraordinary and she is amazing and wonderful. So Pax Panic is my choice of booktube channel that is extraordinary, that has average subscription numbers. So Pax, if you're watching this, Pax, hello. I hope you're having an okay day. See you soon. So the next prompt is a really interesting one, and it's, what are you average at that you'd like to be extraordinary at? So a skill that you think you're average at that you'd like to be better at. And I've always been a budding wannabe cartoonist, and I've done some cartoon. I used to draw cartoons here when I was a student here 30 years ago. I'm a teacher here now, but I used to be a student here. And I used to draw cartoons, strips, and I showed them to everyone in the common room, and it was a bit of a thing. But I've kind of not really developed that very well, so I'd love to have developed that and got better as a cartoonist. And the only other thing I've done, which was quite recent, was the cover of our single DNA. So if you watch, I definitely recommend you go and watch the video for Bemis DNA, because it's one of our most popular songs. But also I did the cover, so there's like a scientist figure with a test tube, and I drew that. But I'd love to be better at cartooning. I love the art of cartooning. I collect cartoonist books. I really love some cartoonists, and I do wish I could be really good at it. And sometimes it's just about thinking of the ideas. I'd love to just be able to draw some really cool, funny cartoons and send them places. I'd love to be able to do that, but I haven't been able to do that yet. Maybe one day. The next two prompts I think are really interesting. So the first one is pick a day in the past that is an average day, and you're going to make it extraordinary. Which I think is such a great way of phrasing the prompt. David, you're a genius. So I'm going to pick 14th of July, 1262. So it's a relatively random date, but it's the 13th century, and I am quite fascinated by the 13th and 14th centuries in particular. Quite a lot happens in those centuries, but also I just think the lifestyle and all sorts of things about it, which I'll get into more at that period in the Historathon later in the year. But I do think it's an interesting period of history. So I want to go back to that time, and what I'd love to do is in a local tavern, or maybe just a hut where they're having some sort of village gathering or something, get a sing-along going, get some harmonies going, polyphony, that kind of stuff going, and some harmony singing, and I just love that. And I'll make that day extraordinary because of the beautiful music we would create as a village. It'd be awesome. Get everyone singing. Everyone singing something catchy, just a repeated line, like if we're gonna pay taxes, let's build a school. That's clearly no. But anyway, that's my response for the day. Go back in time and get a sing-along going in the 13th century. I'd love to do that. It's in my plans. It's in my bucket list, actually. And then the last prompt before the tagging prompt is, where would you go as a vacation, and then how would you make it extraordinary? I love this prompt again. So what I would do, I'd love to go to Tuva for a month, 2 months, something like that. So a long vacation, and learn throat singing or work with throat singers to somehow learn some kind of skill that's connected to it. Because clearly it would probably take a lot longer to properly throat sing. But if you've never heard of throat singing, check out, just put in Tuvan throat singing. It's different from Mongolian throat singing. Mongolian throat singing is a little harsher, more aggressive. Tuvan throat singing is a little bit more melodic, and just it's got a little bit of a gentle. It's not gentle, but it's more gentle approach. But yeah, I'd love to go to Tuva and throat sing with the throat singers. That's what I'd love to do. So there we go, throat singing. Yes. Ooh. So 8 tags. I'm going to tag some people, 8 people, because I don't know. I only normally tag a few, but David Wiley went mental and tagged loads. Tagged about 12, I think. So I'm going to tag a bunch of other people that I know he didn't tag. That will probably make up some more people that we both know, and then probably if everyone did 8 people, then there'll be tons of people tagged. We're all over the place. So anyway, let's have a look. So MJ from Reading This Life, I'm going to tag her. Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads, going to tag him. I'm going to tag Al from Big Hard Books and Classics. Hi Al. I'm going to tag Brian from Bookish. Hi Brian. I'm going to tag Brandy from Booklectic. I'm going to tag Crystal from Fiber Artsy, because I don't think she was tagged. Someone else is probably going to tag Crystal, but Crystal from Fiber Artsy. I'm sure lots of people will tag Ollie. I'm going to tag Ollie from Criminolly. And I'm going to tag Charlotte from Chatty the Mad Hatter as well. Those are the people I'm going to tag. It's a really interesting tag, and I like the fact there's lots of personal bits in it. My last tag had some personal things in it. The high five tag, that has sort of like personal aspects in it as well. I like that. So some bookish stuff, some general stuff, some personal stuff. It's an awesome tag. Thanks, David, again for tagging me. Thanks so much for mentioning my band. And check out some of the people that I've mentioned, because it's awesome. And look up some throat singing. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.
future.